All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. We're going to start the meeting now.
Use the gavel.
Hey, hey guys. All right.
Hey, everyone over there, stop talking.
All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the March 5th, 2026 regular business meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Everyone, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Take the roll. Chair Charles.
Here.
Vice Chair Newfagleis.
Here.
Supervisor Darby.
Here.
Supervisor McFarland.
Here.
Supervisor Knights.
Here.
And our student representative, Aubrey Patton. Everyone is here.
All right. Prior to tonight's business meeting, the board held an executive session to discuss personnel matters and litigation. Chair's comments. First, I just want to say thank you to our Public Works for the efficient cleanup for the last snowstorm, which was a surprise, and hopefully we don't get any more, but we will see. I also want to acknowledge that March is Irish American Heritage Month, so for all those celebrating, have an enjoyable Irish American Heritage Month. Next, we will have the reading of Proclamation for Women's History Month by Supervisor Newfagleis.
Thank you. Proclamation, Women's History Month, March 2026. Whereas the month of March has been designated as Women's History Month to honor the vital role that women have played and continue to play in the history, culture, and achievement of our nation. And whereas the theme for 2026, Leading the Change, Women Shaping a Sustainable Future, recognizes women who are at the forefront of creating a more equitable, environmentally responsible, and just world for generations to come. And whereas women of all backgrounds in communities large and small have broken barriers, opened doors of opportunity, and provided inspiration for the young women and girls who follow in their footsteps, and whereas Lower Providence Township recognizes and celebrates the women in our community who contribute daily to the well-being, vitality, and sustainability of our neighborhoods, our institutions, and our shared future. Now, therefore, to honor the contributions and achievements of women past and present, the Lower Providence Township Board of Supervisors proclaims March 2026 as Women's History Month and reaffirms its commitment to building a sustainable, equitable, and thriving future for all. Proclaim this 5th of March 2026. Chair Charles at Lower Providence Township Board of Supervisors.
Great, thank you. And I just want to recognize the strong and intelligent, wonderful women on this board that I serve with and that work in the township. I'm lucky to work with them. All right, next up, we have presentations. We have several presentations tonight. We're going to start with Methacton School District updates from our student representative, Aubrey Patton.
So at Methacton, students are continuing through the third marking period with several major assessments approaching, including the AP exams in May and the SATs, which Methacton is hosting next Saturday, the 14th. The Unified Bocce team just went to their regionals yesterday, and they got cheered on and for their walkout to go on the buses there. The theater just wrapped up their play, A Little Shop of Horrors, which is a really great show. I actually went to watch it on Saturday. 6 of the boys swimmers are headed to the PIAA state championship. And the boy and girl basketball teams are just wrapping up. They both made it pretty far. The boys made it to districts, but they unfortunately lost against Coatesville. We just had our Red Cross blood drive where both students and teachers donated a total of 118 units of blood. Tomorrow night at 7, there is Mr. Methacton, where senior boys will be competing by doing singing, dancing, comedy, and other things for the title of Mr. Methacton, which is a really fun show to watch. And spring sports just started on Monday, and some of the first games will be next week. And yeah.
Thank you. That was a lot. Thank you so much for reading on that. Next, we have recognition of our outgoing sewer authority member, Robert Shope, And we have Supervisor Knights to take lead on this one.
Okay, tonight I'd like to recognize Robert Shope. Bob has given extraordinary service to the community and the sewer authority this is unbelievable, from December 5th of 1988 through December 31st of 2025, Bob dedicated 37 years to the Sewer Authority Board, providing steady leadership and thoughtful guidance. So when Bob started, I was 20 pounds lighter and in my 20s in Marine Corps training. So, and Bob also served in the Marine Corps. And for what? Semper Fi, do or die. And same with the chief. Yep. And prior to that, Bob spent 7 years on the Planning Commission. So he has really done a lot for the township. During his tenure, Bob played a key role advancing many lasting improvements to the facilities owned and operated by the authority. His commitment to maintaining and strengthening these assets has had a lasting impact on the organization and the community it serves. As the head of the Personnel Committee, Bob worked diligently to ensure that employees were supported through competitive salaries, health care, pension benefits, helping the authority attract and retain a strong and dedicated workforce. Bob's knowledge, experience, and consistent dedication have been invaluable to the authority for over almost 4 decades of service. And on behalf of the township and the community, we extend our sincere appreciation for his many years of leadership and commitment. So I have a certificate to give you here. And we also have some other members of the sewer authority. But it serves a really important function. I try to think about, okay, what's the value that you provide to the community in terms of dollars? And and I try to figure out how do you calculate that? And so one way was to look at what if we didn't have a sewer authority? What if it was a private entity? The data says the rates would go up 40 to 70%. In some cases, minimum. So I calculated the value of the sewer authority to the residents in that context, and over your 37 years, the sewer authority saved the residents $25 million, $140 million. So Bob, share that. $5 million. Thanks, Bob.
Good to see you, Bob. Job well done.
Thank you for your service to us.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Great, thank
It's
you.
your turn now.
Can we make
Set the
sure
timer at 15. It's on.
I just want to take one good look at the guy, I'm the junior member of the sewer authority. I only have 5 years this year on the sewer authority, but Bob has been invaluable in giving me help, support, and guidance as I'm learning the process and learning how I could have an impact, something hopefully that along the lines of what he has done. So personally, he's done a great job. As you said, he's a Marine. He's always faithful. He's there all the time. And I can't say enough for him. I'm really delighted to have worked with him. And I wish him the best in his next endeavor, wherever it takes him. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that. Next, we had a Human Relations Commission updates planned, but that's been tabled to a future meeting. So moving on, we will now have the Audubon Land Development updates. Andy and Josh, thank you for being here.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Andy Laura. Go ahead.
Josh Sorum.
With Audubon Land.
Sure.
Tonight we're just here to. Okay. No problem. It's a rowdy group. They put up with a lot.
Great. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye.
Paul, are you able to zoom out a little bit? Yeah. I got the same one. Yeah, that's a good laser pointer. Yeah, so we're here today to just provide an update on Shenandoah, primarily on Phase 3. Currently, RB12 is in construction. Right now, leasing sales is going pretty well. I think we're about 90 of the 104, is what I heard, has been secured. Looking to finish construction on RB12, and in hopes of having it owned and occupied here by Labor Day. Currently, we are permitting-wise for the rest of the facilities. We are into Montgomery County Conservation District with our NPDS permit. We have been deemed administratively complete, so it's in technical review now. So we are hoping to have our NPDS wrapped up here in the next 2 months, in hopes to start construction. What are we thinking? October? Is what we're thinking?
Yeah, October.
October. Start construction on RB13 and Clubhouse C. Clubhouse C is important to us to, alleviate some stress from the other clubhouses. Currently, once RB12 is up and running, residents in the meantime will be utilizing the other clubhouses for dining and facilities.
Where is Egypt Road?
Egypt Road is right here down at the south.
Okay, thank you.
South, plain south. Other than that, permitting-wise, we are also in discussions with the sewer authority. Majority of Phase 3 does have sewer secured. We do have sewer secured for Phase 4, which is a future phase. And the discussion has been, we're going to take some of the 89 EDUs that's in allocated for Phase 4 and assign it to Phase 3. So we do have the sewer capacity has already been approved. We just need to go through some paperwork to shift some of those EDUs from one phase to the other. So once those two things are done, the NPDS permit and the sewer is secured, my understanding is we'll be back in just for the staff to make sure we have developer agreements are updated and OPCs and securities are completed.
With the EDUs that you're shifting forward, does that mean when you eventually move to Phase 4 that you're going to have to get new EDUs?
We would need to get additional EDUs
Okay.
potentially at that phase,
Okay.
but that's several years
Ways out.
down the road. So currently with the authority under a connection management plan, it's just easier. It's an easier lift to shift the EDUs that have already been approved.
So I guess when you initially put the plans in, you got so many EDUs for Phase 3, so many for Phase 4.
Correct.
Or early on, and then.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So thank you for all that. This will, the future construction that you mentioned, it starts in the fall, I think you said, with Building 13 and the clubhouse?
In the clubhouse, that's the hopes.
And that would be another, 12 months of construction, roughly?
I think.
Approximately 2 years.
2 years, okay. So then, at the completion of that, Phase 3 would be completely finished.
So we are only looking to do, right now, 12 is being constructed right now. We're looking to move to 13 right here and then to the clubhouse. So we will still have 14 and 15.
Oh, okay, those are still in Phase 3.
Those are still in phase 3, but it'll be fully permitted, and sewer would be secured as well.
Okay.
But
But you have no immediate
we have no immediate plans.
long-range plan for the
Right.
next two?
It'd be based off of market need.
Right.
RB12 has been pretty successful, so that's where we're looking to move forward with 13. So I would anticipate once 13 and clubhouse is done, 14 will probably be shortly after.
Okay.
And will the entire set of roads be done ahead of 13 and 14? Or 14 and 15?
They will not. What we'll plan to do is. What we'll plan to do when we do 12, this road will stop right here. This parking lot and this parking lot will go in. As we progress over to 13, and this parking lot for 12, as we progress to 13, pretty much everything over to at least this point will be completed. Then we'll have to probably discuss with the fire marshal about access fully around the building and that kind of thing.
Okay.
But our goal is to stop at the left-hand side, plan view west of the CB building, right there.
Okay, thank you.
Big project.
Yeah. Did you have any other questions or? One other thing to point out, you can sort of see it here at the bottom. There's 8-foot long or 8-foot wide trail, and that has been installed to date. I think it's part of the 9/11 trail, so that has been completed, part of our requirements. I think we do have it blocked off there because of construction.
At the construction entrance where we enter in, right where we currently enter into the site is right here, so we just have barriers up on this side and this side, just so people aren't walking back and forth with all the construction workers.
Great. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming out. We value your work and for everything you do for our community. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, guys.
Okay, next up, we're going to have Nikki Krolovich from the ARC Alliance present to us. And then after that, we'll do a proclamation, but first we'll have the presentation. Thanks for being here, Nikki.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Good.
It's nice to see some familiar faces all around tonight. The ARC Alliance, tonight we are going to be joined by Xenia and Armand, who are coming up. We'll just give them a minute. So first of all, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Intellectual and Developmental Disability Awareness Month. March is Intellectual and Developmental Disability Awareness Month, so the timing of this is quite perfect. My name is Nikki Krelovich, as you mentioned, and I'm the Executive Director at the ARC Alliance. Today, Xenia and Armand Ardeshna are joining us to talk a little bit about the ARC and the work that we do here. If you want to go to the next slide. So the ARC is a 501c3 nonprofit. We've been around since 1951, if you can believe that, and we were started by a group of parents who had children with intellectual disabilities, and as you can imagine, the last 70-some years, a lot has changed about how we take care of folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We support folks with intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities, autism, and many other disabilities. And since 1951, we've supported about 50,000 individuals. Next slide, please. We're an affiliate of the ARC of the United States, which has 700 chapters all across the country. Each chapter is run individually as its own corporation and own nonprofit, and we are the ARC for Montgomery County, Bucks, and Berks. But we're also social workers, and we're not really good at saying no when people need help. So we provide services all across southeastern Pennsylvania, even though we're the official ARC for Montgomery, Bucks, and Berks. Next slide, please. So our primary mission is to advocate for the independence, empowerment, and inclusion of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in the community. We currently serve about 3,000 people per year across southeastern Pennsylvania. So I'm just curious, in this room, does anybody have a loved one in their life who has an intellectual or developmental disability? Yeah? You already know that you can't really get through this without a support system. And that's where the ARC Alliance comes in with our services. Next slide, please. The three primary services that the ARC Alliance provides are early intervention, supports coordination, and guardianship. For early intervention, this is Rena here in the photo, and you can see we provide services for early intervention up to 3 years old. We're with the babies in the NICU, helping the parents all the way through 3 years old, and then they graduate from our services for early intervention to the county's services for early intervention for 3 to 5. Once they get school age, they receive their services through the public school system. Our services include speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, special instruction, nutritional support. We basically go into homes, we go to the library, we go to the park, and we work with families in their own organic settings to teach them and to coach them how to provide these therapies to their children. And what's really amazing is about half of the children in early intervention, once they reach school age, they don't even require any special supports, which is a great investment if you ask me. I don't know too many other places where you're going to have 50% of the people that you support no longer needing your services. In fact, for every $1 that's invested in early intervention, it saves about $7 for special education down the road. The next area of service we provide is supports coordination. So this comes in as children, I would say, become teenagers, and they're starting to look at what their life is like after they graduate from the public school system and receiving their supports. So up until about 22, individuals with these disabilities can continue to receive supports through the schools. But then after that, that's where the ARC comes in. So we work with families who all of a sudden, all the services that they've received for 22 years are gone, and we help them to identify what services and supports they might need. We help them try to line those up. We monitor them to make sure they're getting what they need, and we help them to get the funding for those services. The majority of our funding comes through Medicaid, and it is fee for service, but if you don't have a supports coordinator, you can't get Medicaid funding for those services. So we are the gatekeeper to those really important funds for the critical services that people with IDD and autism require. And our last area of service is guardianship. This one is a little bit different. We are guardians, we're professional guardians for people who are deemed incapacitated by the court, and then the judge appoints us as a guardian. So we don't help families become guardians or anything like that. We step in when there's no one else to help somebody with disabilities. And for guardianship, it is well beyond intellectual and developmental disabilities. It can be things like dementia, things that happen later in life. It can be traumatic brain injuries when people can no longer care for themselves. When they don't have someone else who can look out for their best interests, that's when we're appointed guardian. Next slide, please. This is Fiona, and Fiona is one of our success stories who started with early intervention. This was a couple of years ago at our resource fair where she was running around the Elmwood Park Zoo with her walker. I am thrilled to tell you that Fiona now runs around our events without any mobility devices whatsoever other than her brace, and that is thanks in part to her physical therapist and early intervention. As I mentioned, we are a fee-for-service model. Our funding comes through Medicaid, and we are contracted through the county to provide these services. So when families are looking for help getting these types of services, like supports coordination and early intervention, they're going to want to start by going to the county to get enrolled in the program. And then they can choose the ARC Alliance for their early intervention or for their supports coordinator. My job here at the ARC Alliance is to raise money to help offset the funding needs that it seems all organizations in the human services area have right now. Our fees do not cover our expenses, and so my job is to raise private donations, grants. We do it through sponsorships and charity events, and we raise private dollars to come in and cover those gaps. Now I'd like to introduce you to Xenia and Armand and let Xenia tell you a little bit about how the ARC Alliance has helped her family.
Hello, everyone.
Do you want her to use the microphone?
Sure.
Oh, there we go.
I think I'll use the stick just because I need to watch him. Hello, everyone. Nikki invited me here to speak more from the parent perspective of how the ARC supports us and the services we get. So Armand here has been part of the ARC Alliance, and we call it Team Armand. ARC Alliance has been part of Team Armand since Armand was under a year old. He was referred to the ARC Alliance by his pediatrician around 9 months, and the ARC Alliance, the evaluators came into our home, evaluated Armand. I'll share a little bit more. I think I have enough time, Nikki, where the evaluators came in. The point that the evaluators came in, I still remember that, Armand was not even able to be evaluated in the same room. He had anxiety at that point where they were evaluating him from a separate room. And we received, post the evaluation, received physical therapy, occupational therapy, behavior therapy, special education, as well as physical therapy. The birth to 3, which is the early intervention that Nikki spoke about, is it's a teaching model. So they come into our home or the location where the child is, and they, in addition to working with Armand, they also were able to teach us how to work with him and help him develop day to day. All of what we've learned, and we had an amazing team through EI. I still go to the ARC Alliance events and meet some of our therapists. And what they taught me and my husband and our family, we still use to date to advocate for him. So it is something that I won't forget, and it was really helpful for us at that early stage to continue to work and advocate for him. We still have connections with the ARC Alliance. Nikki talked about sports coordination, and sports coordination was something that was introduced to me through the ARC Alliance, and they have these information events that they provide, and most parents wait a lot later to start to get sports coordination, and as it gets later, things continue to pile up, and I'm going to advocate for anyone out here, please get that done earlier than later, because even though we don't get the services that at this point, he'll avail of those services post 21, I believe at this point, but we still get information from our supports coordinator about activities, things that Armand can participate in, and also connections for home health aid services that we really need. And it's a huge struggle right now because there's staffing issues. So they continue to support us through, right now, even though he's not getting services, they continue to give us a lot of information, which is helpful. I will say this is actually one of the events that the ARC holds. If you've not been there for this is the event in June that the ARC has. It's at the zoo, Elmwood Zoo, and they have many resources out there. And I will say that the ARC also, I think many of you are familiar with Variety. That's where Armand goes for ESY. Organizations like these they're just a support system for families like ours. Having them around, it just gives us a place where Armand can feel safe, he can learn, grow in that safe environment, and it's a true support system for us. So that's all I'll say. I mean, it's invaluable, and I don't think families like ours could move forward without a support system like that.
If you want to go to the next slide, I just wanted to point everybody to our website. We do have a lot of events coming up. I know we've taken quite a bit of time, but we are big fundraiser galas coming up the end of March. It's a great night. And of course, everybody is invited. We've partnered with Representative Webster's office to host a resource fair at the Oaks Expo Center at the end of March, and that is free and open to the public. And then, of course, for our golfers, we have a great golf event, our biggest fundraiser of the year, coming up in October. And you might recognize one of our huge supporters, family and friend and supporter here in Lower Providence Township, JP Mascaro and Sons, who has been a longtime supporter of the ARC and the work that we're doing. So we're really grateful for the community and the network that we have made here in the township, and we appreciate your support in doing that. You can go to the next slide is our website. If anybody has any questions about any of our events or any of the services that we provide, information can be found on our website. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions or comments?
Go ahead. No, go. I just want to say, Nikki, thank you so much for doing everything that you're doing, and the staff as well for these wonderful individuals, because they are able. Armand, I've seen you since you were a baby, and you've done tremendous. So I know I'm making you blush. Shout out to Zania. You advocated for your baby, and look at him. So I'm just so great to see him like that. Yeah.
So thanks for coming out tonight. You mentioned that a lot of your funding comes from Medicaid. Have you been impacted by some of the changes in that?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of changes going on with the matching between the feds and the state. Part of it is covered by the feds, and some of it is covered by the state. So we do a lot of advocacy, trying to educate our lawmakers who are making those decisions, both in Washington and in Harrisburg, about how important this is and the cost savings. Like, for instance, with EI, early intervention. I mean, where are you going to get a better return on investment by spending $1 now and saving $7 down the road? So as we go out and do these types of things, we can educate people about the importance of these services so that hopefully when it comes time to do the budgets, they remember us and make sure those rates are solid, so that my staff who's going into homes dealing with, I can't even tell you the stories that they've shared with us going into homes to take care of the individuals that we serve. And they're competing, or we're competing with Starbucks, paying $23 an hour. And that's what they're making going in, not even making that, going into these homes and dealing with ridiculous conditions. So yes, unfortunately, those things have had a major impact on our entire sector.
Well, and the other part of that is the staffing. I know, we were dealing with an elder care situation a while back, and a lot of the staffing, a lot of the staff were here on a legal status, but I think some of that, are you seeing that you're having trouble finding the staff?
So as far as...
Because a lot came from overseas.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that what it comes down to is the rates that we have. When we can't pay competitive rates, it hurts all of our direct service providers. Our physical therapists have to have a doctorate, and they're making peanuts in the nonprofit sector compared to what they could go make working for a hospital. So keeping good staff, retaining them, training them, and then keeping them through a really challenging type of work is certainly hard. But what it really comes down to for us are the rates.
I just want to say hello, Nikki. Haven't
Hi,
seen you in
Peter.
quite a while. I'm sure you're the best advocate for this that they could find, and
Thank you.
I doubt if they'll ever find one as good. And I want to congratulate you, because I know as much as you get support from the ARC Alliance, Nina, it's a lot of work and a lot of love to take care of a child. And I applaud you for your effort.
And we're grateful. I mean, we're really grateful for the ARC. Like, we're here, he's 13, so that's kind of how long we've had the relationship with the ARC, and we continue. Because I know we talked about staffing. Their staff is awesome. The ARC Alliance, they are amazing. the therapists we had in EI, some of them are still with the York Alliance. And it is a very different perspective when you get a therapist that comes in and has similar sensory issues and knows how to relate to my child and show me why he is reacting in a way. So it just makes a huge difference. And when you're talking about the savings in special ed, we saw it. We saw the growth that my child who couldn't stay in a room due to anxiety with other people is now here. And so it makes a difference. Those early years make a huge difference. And also, going through their early years of education makes a difference. But what we learned in that birth to 3 range helped, him and us continue to develop and move forward.
Okay, great. Proclamation, Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, March 2026. Whereas Lower Providence Township joins communities across the nation in recognizing March as Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. And whereas individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities enrich our community through their talents, perspectives, and contributions, and deserve every opportunity to live, work, learn, and participate fully in all aspects of community life. And whereas we call upon all citizens to celebrate those with intellectual and developmental disabilities, working together to remove barriers that stand in the way of their full participation in order to build a community where everyone has the chance to thrive. And now, therefore, because the principles of dignity, respect, self-determination, and equal opportunity are core values of this township, and we are committed to fostering an inclusive, welcoming, and accessible community for every resident, the Board of Supervisors of Lower Providence Township hereby proclaims March 2026 to be Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month.
Thank you. Come on down. Gotta get that smile. Armand. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Leslie.
All right, thank you. That was really special. All right, next we have consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda includes the following: acceptance of the minutes of the Board of Supervisors business meeting February 19th, 2026, Resolution 2026-12 Sewage Facilities Planning Module, Audubon Square 5. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, board comment? Public comment?
One quick comment. I had made a suggestion on a change to the minutes. I'm assuming that's what would be incorporated? Yep, okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, public comment? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. On to old business, adoption of ordinance number 695, amending chapter 120 of the Township Code, streets and sidewalks, and we have Township Manager E.J. Mentry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This ordinance was introduced at the previous meeting, was authorized for advertisement, has been duly advertised, and is ready for board consideration for adoption tonight. This ordinance amends Chapter 120 of the Township Code, which is the streets and sidewalks section, specifically regarding snow removal requirements on sidewalks past a storm, a snowstorm. It's kind of cleaning up the ordinance, which was very old and essentially unenforceable. It requires that sidewalks be cleared within 24 hours of the conclusion of a snow event. It also now puts the monitoring and enforcement of this requirement under the code enforcement officer as opposed to the public works director, and provides a more formal process for notice and issuances of violations, which were absent in this section of the code previously.
Great. Okay, thank you for that. I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 695. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, board comment?
I had received one bit of public comment on this privately, which was, I guess that's I don't know if it's public-private comment, but basically related to enforcement, like when there's drifting conditions. They wanted to make sure that if the snow was drifting, that was taken into account when this was to be enforced.
Yeah, I think this ordinance as drafted doesn't specifically address that. It does give discretion to the township and the code enforcement department. The intent behind this change is not to be punitive, and it's certainly not meant to generate any, revenue or fees for the township. It's really to kind of address property owners that just don't clear their sidewalks at all, which, given the winter that we've had this year, we've seen a significant uptick in those. So their discretion will be used wisely in terms of leniency for circumstances like that.
Okay, any more board comment? See none. Public comment? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. On to new business. Approval of the Castleberry House lease agreement. I turn it over to EJ Mentry to explain the agreement.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. And we do have a couple guests here from the Jaybird Foundation tonight who you'll probably recognize. They were back before the board in November to give a formal presentation on their project proposal for the Castleberry House. The presentation was very well received and essentially served as the catalyst to move us to where we are right now, which is presenting this lease agreement to the board that is ready for your consideration. And essentially what this lease agreement does is it provides a 2-year lease with kind of an optional, or I should say even an automatic 1-year extension to the Jaybird Foundation for use of the Castleberry House property. It lays out the intent in terms of their use of the property, but also their goal to clean the property up and improve the property, which they explained in detail when they presented to the board back in November. They have a pretty aggressive and impressive funding plan that they've put together. I know they already have some grant applications teed up and ready to submit. They're going to seek a lot of grant funding, as well as donations and sponsorships to fundraise to basically pay to restore this historic property to the form that it used to be in, and in a way that's going to be usable for them and hopefully potentially additional users in the future. There's been a lot of back and forth over the last couple of weeks to kind of clean up this lease agreement to a form that's ready for the board. Myself, Courtney and Sam, and anybody from the township solicitor staff is happy to answer any questions that the board has.
And just one quick comment based on the earlier discussion. Supervisor Knights pointed out there's a typo or a missing word in the draft in front of you that will be added back in, which will indicate that if the lease is terminated without cause, there are certain conditions will kick in. So that change will be made before it is sent back to Jaybird Foundation's attorney.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve the Castleberry House lease agreement. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'd love to second this.
Okay, board comment? Public comment? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. On to Authorization to advertise an ordinance amending Chapter 8 of the Township Code, Development Committee, E.J. Mentry and Michael Clark.
This is me again. Sorry. You're hearing from me a lot tonight. Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me just pull this up so I make sure I'm reading the right ordinance. So currently the Township, Chapter 8 of the Township Code is a kind of an outdated chapter called the Development Committee, and it's not one that has really been followed or adhered to for several years. We don't really have an existing development committee. What we have had for a number of years is essentially an ad hoc business development committee comprised of 2 appointed township supervisors and township staff. And what this ordinance, what this amendment to Chapter 8 does is essentially updates this section of the code to convert our existing business development committee into a more formal business development advisory committee, which would be a 7-member committee comprised of 2 township supervisors, 5 at-large members from the business community in the township to serve in a more formal advisory capacity to advise the Board of Supervisors and kind of be a liaison with the business community in the township. This is something that our ad hoc business development committee has been working on for the last several months, and that Chair Charles has been very supportive of. So we're excited at the possibility to essentially create this new advisory board where we can invite in members from the business community to provide more sound insight as well as advice and guidance on ways we can improve the relationship between the township and the business community, and hopefully help attract some good new businesses into the township as well, and celebrate those that we have here already.
I have a question on it. Have you perceived a problem in communicating with the business community?
I would say from my perspective, I wouldn't really say I perceive a problem. I don't know that there is a very open channels of dialogue. I think it's an area for improvement. And like I said, I don't think it's really a situation where there's a lot of conflict, but a situation where there's room for improvement. And I think this will help provide that.
And growth.
And growth. And that question is just as appropriate for Supervisors McFarland or Newfig-Lice, who serve on the committee and are involved in these discussions.
And the reason I asked it was, I totally get doing things to attract new businesses and all of that. I thought maybe there was a problem with communication when you mentioned it, but it sounds like that we're simply missing a venue for collaboration.
Yeah, well, I would tend to agree. We are available as a township to react to a business that wants to come to us for assistance or a service, but we have no method by which we can reach out to attract businesses who are not either in the township already or not aware of some opportunities that might lie ahead. So this is more of a proactive reach out element, inclusive of several as yet unasked and unnamed members from the business community to participate in ways the township can be more successful in gaining businesses and in keeping them. So that's, I think, our main thought. Anything you want to add to that?
I 100% agree, and I think we all know we have some properties in the township that are unoccupied, and so how can we attract businesses here to fill those properties and also to provide more services and more retail to our community and our residents?
I just wanted to ask, are we collaborating with the Montgomery County Commerce Department? Because I know they've been very instrumental with focusing people on Lower Providence Township. So just making sure.
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's something I should have kind of mentioned at the outset. We actually included that as one of the specific bullet points in terms of the duties, powers and duties of this new committee, which is formally to serve as the liaison between the township and the Montgomery County Commerce Department. So,
And so in terms of the composition of the business community members, do they have to be businesses in Lower Providence, or could it, for example, include like a commercial broker that is looking across the county and might be able to bring, business our way versus a different way, let's say?
That was discussed briefly, but having any particular commercial broker join this board would give that broker a distinct competitive advantage over all others. So while we would reach out as a committee to all the commercial brokers, we would not include any single one of them as part of this committee because they would be getting information ahead of the rest of the public that would give them an advantage, I believe. So we do, in further response to that, we do want to get some diversity with respect to the business members, and we haven't included this, nor do I think we actually need to in the ordinance, but we want to make sure that we get an individual from the retail segment. That would be people at the grocery stores, the pizza shops, anyone who's providing a product at a retail price. Also from the service industry, which includes everything from Mascaro provides a service, the attorneys provide services, anyone who provides services in the community, and also, of equal importance, I think, the industrial. We haven't really found a good word to describe this appropriately, but most of the jobs that will improve our economy in this township are from larger companies in the industrial park who employ large numbers of people. And we would like to get a representative from that segment, not necessarily that park, but that segment, to be part of this too, to help us understand the best ways to attract other larger businesses into the community so that those employees grow. Some of them may then or in the future live here, but also all the restaurants, all the service businesses, all benefit from having more employees residing within the township. So that's a very significant area that we want to focus on, but also with regard to the various areas of the town, West Ridge Pike, the central area, the industrial park, the lower part of Ridge Pike. So all of these are various areas that we will, with this formed committee, begin to formulate some type of strategy to attract appropriate businesses in those appropriate areas.
So then just to answer the second part of my question, or maybe the first part, it would be limited to members of the Lower Providence business community, or could it be folks outside of Lower Providence?
I would say Lower Providence.
Okay.
Again, we do have a site out, we have a vision to bring others in to the community.
And that's what I'm thinking
but
about.
But that's, talking to commercial brokers and things like that, is where can we tap into other businesses outside of our community that are looking to move here or need space, and we can represent that space and let people know and businesses know that we're here, we're available, we've got commercial space, come visit us, come bring your business here.
So I would agree within Lower Providence, but they could be business owners, but also business operators who aren't necessarily residents.
Sure.
They're not required to be, but if they are operating a business or own a business, then they would be qualified to be part of this discussion. Language yet? Because you haven't made a motion to. I want to alter some of the wording.
Okay.
But I don't know if this is probably not. We should probably.
Let's do motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Motion to authorize advertisement of an ordinance amending Chapter 8 of the Township Code. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, board comment.
We did a lot of the board comment. I think, do you want to jump into?
Do you want me to do this
Yeah.
math quiz that we went through?
Yeah, please do.
Well, there's a couple of things.
Travis, are you taking notes because you helped draft this? So I think primarily we're looking at the terms.
8.2, terms of members. I think we need to add language that states that supervisors will be assigned to these committees annually at the reorg meeting, and they will serve a one-year term. as is true for supervisors in every other committee. You don't want to imply or suggest that a supervisor should be appointed for more than 1 year. That would be the chair, then current chair's decision. A supervisor could be reappointed for a second term, but you don't want to make the assumption that supervisors more than 1 year.
Sure.
That's just consistent with every other approach that supervisors take. Then under A, I can't re-wordsmith this, so I'm just gonna, what we wanna do is have 2-year terms. We're gonna start the committee sometime, we hope by mid-year. So we would like to then have one group of 3 of the 5 be reappointed or reviewed for appointment at the beginning of 28, not 27. That would only be 6 months roughly. At 28, it would be about 18 months. Then the other 2 would be reviewed in 29, so they would actually serve 2.5 years. You with me on this? I hope so, because I don't want to repeat it. So then
We will have this recorded.
Every year after that, there will be either 2 or 3 under review for reappointment or new appointment.
Staggered terms.
So that, yeah, so those, we want to have a staggered, that's why we're going to start out with a little bit odd distance. I don't know, we need to put that in the ordinance, but the inaugural terms will be a little bit varied, but the annual terms will be 2 years.
I understand.
And each year there will be a re-discussion of a limited number of those things.
It is not uncommon for these ordinances to have very specific language for the initial appointments because oftentimes it doesn't always neatly coincide with the beginning of a calendar year. So we'll work on that.
Yeah, and the floor is open to everyone, so if you all of my email, just send your comments to me and we can work it out together.
And I have a small question on what you said there, Peter.
I'm not taking questions.
You're not taking questions? Now I'll just make a statement. I think I heard you say that it would be 2-year terms?
Correct.
So the copy I have here used to have 2-year terms, but it was changed to 3. So we're moving it back to 2? I just want to make sure I'm reading this correctly.
That is correct. So I actually think the existing Chapter 8 of the code for the old development committee that doesn't really exist was 2-year terms.
Okay.
We drafted it as 3. My mistake. We're going to keep it at 2.
Okay, thank you.
Reading through, so the language which is stripped through, that is the old ordinance. So you're looking really at a mapped ordinance. The old ordinance is intact with the exception of what has either been stricken through, which is being removed, or underlined, which is being added. So that's just as you're reading through, that's why you're going to see that distinction between what's stricken through versus underlined.
And just for clarity, we got on last Friday, we got a draft, and then we got a second draft that was amended like on Monday. Is that just a correction thing? I saw something separate from the Friday issuance.
So there was some amendment done to A, and then confirmation, and then as is typical procedure there, you would, and this is very minor, your former point 8, which was removed, has now been addressed as point 6. So
just grammatical.
Grammatical and formatting and accommodating what the board had already requested.
Okay. And I don't know where we left it. We did discuss wanting to have participants from various sectors. I don't know if we need to put that in the ordinance or not.
So right now, it's very broad. It's 2 members of the Lower Providence Board of Supervisors, and then the remainder, because there's also the option for this board to be extended by 2 at the discretion of the board, the remainder being members of, quote, the business community. So that does give you broad discretion to appoint as you steam.
All of the members who will be appointed to this will be appointed by a vote of the 5 of you. So I think having a broad discretion is.
Person for each.
No, you're right.
You may not get a person in each category.
Even though we might desire it, we may
Right,
not get it.
exactly.
So we should not put it into.
Yeah.
I agree.
But I would say if you want to memorialize the thought, perhaps you could say that in the business community members, we're going to look for a variety of businesses or something more general like that.
Cross-section.
So, a cross-section. So if someone looks at this 5 years later and wasn't privy to this conversation, they would see that intent.
Yeah, cross-section, I think, is,
Cross-section.
yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Amend your motion. Can I make a public comment? Yes, but not yet. I think, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, it would be appropriate for the chair to amend her motion to advertise the ordinance, incorporating the changes as discussed.
That would be appropriate.
Okay, I'd like to make an amendment to the motion to incorporate the points that we just discussed.
I forget who seconded.
It was Terry?
Yep.
Okay, Supervisor
And I
Nicholas?
second it.
Okay. Board comment is complete, and now public comment.
I think it's a great.
Please come up to the microphone. Sam?
I live in Skippack Township, but I think this is a great idea. I was just curious, more or less, is the board advisory or? Okay, so
Yes.
okay, that's all I was curious about. I think it's a great idea. I love the idea. I think I'm a member of a BNI group out in Limerick, and I can see it doing great things for small businesses. So there's like one attorney seat, one general contractor, and they kind of share that network of abilities, and I think it's great for existing businesses, and I love the idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Great. All right, announcements, meetings. The township's website has been updated to make navigation easier. It's work in progress with more improvements to come. In the meantime, if you have questions or need help locating something, just reach out at 610-539-8020. I want to thank Paul Donnelly and Denise Walsh for their hard work on the new website. It looks awesome. And yeah, we needed that, and you got it done, so thank you.
Mostly Denise. It was mostly Denise.
All right, the 46th annual egg hunt will be held on Saturday, March 21st in Eagleville Park. There will be hunts for ages 2 through 8 starting at 10 a.m. Sewer Authority meeting will be held March 9th at 4:30. Library Board meeting will be March 16th at 6 p.m. Environmental Advisory Council, March 16th at 7 p.m. Park and Rec Board meeting, March 17th at 6 p.m. Planning Commission, March 25th at 7 p.m. Zoning Hearing Board, March 23rd at 7 p.m. And another Zoning Hearing Board meeting, March 26th at 7 p.m. On to courtesy of the floor. Any meeting attendees wishing to address the board, please come to the podium, state your name, whether you are a township resident. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Public comment is an opportunity to share your thoughts with the board. Supervisors may respond at their discretion, but are not required to answer questions during this portion of the meeting. If you would like to follow up, please contact the board or township staff directly by phone or email. Okay, seeing none. On to board comments.
All right, I'd like to make a comment. I would like to address Supervisor Knight's comment last month about reading a religious proclamation. Like Supervisor Knight's, I strongly believe in separation of church and state. I do not believe there is a single national religion, nor do I support promoting one religion over another. However, reading a proclamation is not about establishing or endorsing a religion. Rather, it is about recognizing and celebrating the diversity of our community. These proclamations help increase awareness, understanding, and appreciation of the many traditions that shape the lives of our residents. They recognize generational traditions, cultural traditions, and yes, faith traditions. They reflect the richness of our community through food, music, ceremony, ritual, family, and shared experiences. I, for one, fully support the board's continued recognition of these traditions and the reading of these proclamations. Thank you.
Can I piggyback off of that?
You may.
That was great. So I missed that last week, but I just want to take a moment to just reflect and just to inspire on something that I believe strengthens any community. recognizing and appreciating the diversity of the people who call it home. So thank you, Terry, for stating that. Many of you know that I bring a number of different perspectives to this board. I serve as the only person of color. I am a woman, the daughter of immigrant parents, a mother raising Black children, and a Christian whose faith teaches me the importance of compassion, service, dignity, and loving our neighbors. Those experiences shape how I see the world and how I approach public service. But they also remind me that every person in Lower Providence Township brings their own story, background, and perspective. That variety of experiences is part of what makes a community vibrant and strong. In my work as a physician, I care for people from all walks of life, different races, religions, cultures, and beliefs. When someone walks into my office, my goal is simple: to care for them and to help them live healthier lives. I don't choose who deserves care. Every patient deserves respect, compassion, and dignity. I believe local government should reflect those same values. Our role is to serve every resident of this township, all of them, not just those who look like us, think like us, or share our experiences. Our role is to make sure all residents feel seen, respected, and valued as part of Lower Providence Township. When we keep that focus, caring for people and working together, our community becomes stronger. As we recognize the many traditions that exist within our community, as Supervisor Nufugais mentioned, I'd like to extend warm wishes to those celebrating at this time. So to our neighbors who celebrated Holi a few days ago, happy Holi. To those who observed Purim earlier this week as well, happy Purim. And as we head into the weekend, happy daylight savings time. So don't forget to set your clocks forward. So moments like these remind us of the richness, as Supervisor Nufugais said, of the traditions and cultures that make up our township. So at the end of the day, our job is simple: take care of our residents and treat each other with respect. To Lower Providence Township residents, I see you, I respect you, and I value you. Thank you.
I have two things to say tonight. One, I had received an email from a resident about property taxes. This is not as interesting as what was just said, about taxes going up. And I know this is a point of confusion for a lot of people because, like, you sometimes only see your property tax bill, and that's the main one you see. And if the average property tax bill goes up by $60, you might think, oh, my taxes went up 10%. But the vast majority of our tax revenue comes from the local income tax, which we have no control over. Like, we can't set those rates or anything. And if you look at the percentage of our budget that's paid for by the property tax, it's a small amount, maybe a third or something. And I know doing partial fraction math isn't everyone's strong point, but if you look at like the average working homeowner with two people working, they saw their total local tax increase, which includes property tax and the local income tax, increased by about 3% last year. The average retiree who pays no income tax, because we live in a state that doesn't tax pensions, 401ks, Social Security, did see a higher percentage increase because all they pay is the property tax. So they did see a 10% increase, but they pay no local tax on, and so because of that, they pay a much lower tax level, even though they get all the services that people who provide income tax get. So the retirees actually have a good deal going in Lower Providence because they don't pay the tax on their other income. Now, so I received an email on that maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. A second and more important issue I want to discuss is of growing concern for many residents of Lower Providence. The increasing pattern of unlawful conduct by federal immigration agents and the possibility of improper federal interference in our local elections. First, there's several recent developments that raise serious alarms about federal overreach. A federal judge recently warned that across the country, this was in a legal opinion, agents are operating in ways that violate the Fourth and Fifth Amendments, masked, unidentified, armed, using unmarked vehicles, seizing individuals without warrants, and detaining them without due process. In Chicago, of 92 people arrested by ICE for allegedly resisting or assaulting officers, only 18 ever got charged. Most of those cases were dismissed, and not a single one resulted in a conviction. In Minneapolis, a man who was shot by an ICE agent was falsely accused of assault. Federal prosecutors later dropped the case after determining the ICE account was untrue. A recent congressional hearing revealed that new ICE officers are secretly being trained in methods that violate constitutional limits. And most concerning, documents and statements circulating within the current administration raise the possibility of federal involvement in state-run elections, despite the Constitution clearly assigning election administration to the states, not the federal government. So these developments lead to a central question, and this is, I'm not looking for any kind of answer tonight on this, but just for the chief, EJ, the solicitor, the other lawyers to think about, is what should our township's response be if armed individuals claiming to represent the federal government attempt to interfere with Lower Providence's polling places? This is not a hypothetical concern. If federal personnel attempt to insert themselves into election operations, such actions would run contrary to both the Constitution and Pennsylvania law. And though some may point to the Supremacy Clause, that clause does not give the federal government authority over state-run elections. So tonight, I'm not asking for any kind of answer. I'm just asking for the chief, township solicitor, staff, township manager to consider this carefully. How will we protect our polling places, our residents, and the integrity of our elections if such interference occurs? Local officials don't have to take a political position to uphold the rule of law. They simply need to be prepared, and our community deserves to know that our elections, our most fundamental democratic process, will remain in the hands of the people and the state as the Constitution requires. So that's all I have to say.
I don't know why I know this, but I know this. I believe it's to the sheriff's office. And the police are not allowed at the polling locations unless some type of incident occurs that you would have to go. So it's the sheriff, and I know our sheriff is already making a plan.
I just want to make sure that we are all coordinated because people are concerned about it. I'm very concerned about it. And if we have masked men with guns coming in to take
Anyone, public safety just across the board.
public safety, yeah.
Peter? Nothing from me. All right. All right. I do love this board, though. We're all diverse and we bring such different points of view, and I think that's representative of the township, and I think we're doing a really good job. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. We are adjourning.